Before we can talk about how a person remembers information, let's talk about how we forget information. This chart is called the forgetting curve. It was discovered back in 1883 by a Hermann Ebbinghaus, a German scientist. And here's what he discovered: that the information that we typically will take in within one day, just one day, here's what it'll look like, how much of that information we will recall. It'll look something like this. All right, the orange line represents being exposed to the information once. And you can see at the end of just one day, the first day, that right about here, about 40%, only 40% of the information that you're exposed to in day one, you're going to remember. And you can see as each day goes by, day 2, day 3, day 4, within 6 days, almost all the information has been completely forgotten. What happens now if we increase the frequency? Well, Ebbinghaus tested that. Here's what it looks like at the end of being exposed to the same information a second time. It looks something like this. Okay, now you can see the green line with a dramatic increase in how much information we are retaining. You'll also notice that as the more days go along, you're not forgetting completely at all. So by the end of day one, by being exposed to the information a second time, day one, we're up near 50% of the information we're retaining. But again, throughout the 6 days, we're remembering even more of the information. We're not forgetting all of it. And he continued on. What about 3 times? What about being exposed to that same information one more time? And that is going to look something like this. Now you can see the more frequency that goes on, Ebbinghaus was able to determine that you can increase how much information a person is going to recall within 6 days. Just in 6 days, we went from remembering only 40% of the information all the way up to near 90% recall within the first day, and more than 50% of the information is retained within a 6-day period just by increasing the frequency. So, how do we get people to remember things? We increase the frequency within a 6-day period.